Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into it, navigating those tricky interpersonal challenges, finding your feet, finding that inner steadiness when things feel messy.
Exactly. And we're looking at some really interesting material that uses this great metaphor, flotsam.
Flotsam. Yeah, I saw that. It makes you think, doesn't it? Usually it's like wreckage floating after a shipwreck.
Right. Literally, it's floating debris.
Mm.
But metaphorically, and this is where our deep dive gets fascinating, it's that emotional clutter, the leftover bits from difficult interactions, maybe misaligned values, stuff that just washes up.
Okay, so the emotional wreckage.
Yeah. And our mission today really is to explore how the individual in the source material finds their footing in all that. We're looking for insights into resilience, self-preservation, especially when facing that emotional pushback.
So, finding stability amidst the emotional flotsam. Okay, the source mentioned something maybe a bit surprising as an anchor. It started with financial security.
It did. And what's really interesting here isn't just financial security means freedom, like, obviously. It's how it changes your psychology.
How so?
Well, the source suggests that having those resources, it sort of frees you from this need, this sometimes unconscious need,
Yeah.
to make everyone happy or like me.
Ah, right. So it's not just safety, it's authenticity. You don't need their approval quite as much.
Exactly. Financial stability becomes like a foundation. You can be more yourself, even if, as the source puts it, some people might naturally dislike you for being your normal self.
But even dislike you for just like following the rules, the source actually says some people see that as a crime.
Which is, yeah, a bizarre perception, but it happens. It shows that having that inner security lets you weather that disapproval.
Okay, so that's disapproval. But what if it's more active, like someone trying to undermine you? The source talks about conflict.
Right, and this is where it gets tough. The person describes feeling, well, gaslit, where others try to destroy the validity of their reality,
Yeah.
make them doubt themselves.
That sounds intense.
It is. But the response described isn't to crumble. It's to stand tall and defend my stance.
Okay. Defend your reality.
Yeah. And interestingly, they even mention having tricks in their pocket for the next attack, but trying to stay civil through it all.
Trips in their pocket. It sounds a bit like preparing for battle, almost. How does that fit with, like, healthy boundaries versus just being defensive?
So that's a really good question. I think the implication isn't about constant fighting, but about being prepared internally.
Yeah.
Having that solid sense of your own reality means you can engage more authentically, maybe even set boundaries better, because you're not so easily swayed or seeking that validation.
So strength for connection, not needing strength from it.
I think that's a great way to put it. Which leads to another point. The source makes a critique of what they call the worst kind of people.
Oh, who are...
Those who are, nice to others and mean to others just because their values are not aligned. The source calls this petty.
Yeah, that inconsistency.
And describes it as a big ick, especially when someone tries to emotionally bring someone down, essentially to reconstruct them, like trying to chip away at you to make you fit their mold.
Yeah, that feeling of someone trying to reshape you, not good.
Definitely not. It really highlights why defending that authentic self is, well, crucial, according to this perspective.
So with all this potential for conflict, for misunderstanding, what's the way forward? What does the source suggest?
Well, instead of, throwing tantrums or just digging in heels, the idea proposed is working together to find a common ground.
Okay, collaboration over conflict.
Kind of. It frames life as a balancing act. You have to choose what's worth saving and resolvable. But the first step is recognizing the situation clearly and then trying to work it out together.
Right, which ties into that famous quote, doesn't it? The one by John Kabat-Zinn.
Exactly. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. It's such a perfect fit here. It's all about adapting, developing skills to handle what comes, rather than trying to control the uncontrollable ocean of interactions.
Learning to surf the emotional waves. I like that. And there was a visual too, right? Something the source described.
Yes, a really powerful image. A person on a beach tossing a heavy, tangled net into the ocean, standing taller afterward.
Wow. That really captures it. Letting go of the tangled mess, the weight.
The flotsam, maybe?
Yeah, letting go of the flotsam to stand stronger. Beautiful.
It perfectly illustrates shedding what holds you back to find that clarity and strength.
So, wrapping up this deep dive then, it seems navigating life's flotsam, it's less about avoiding the mess or making sure everyone approves, and more about building that solid inner core.
Right. Defending your reality, knowing what's important to you, and learning to ride those waves instead of being tossed around.
Cultivating that inner steadfastness.
Exactly. Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. If learning to surf means letting go of what weighs you down,
Yeah.
what heavy, tangled net might you be ready to toss into the ocean so you can stand taller in your own life?